Hello, I hope you're having a fantastic day, whoever you are, and I hope that I can share with you some information on preparing a surface for meshing in Synvascular. My name is Adam, and I'm with Synvascular, and we'll go through these steps today. Number one, we're going to extract the boundary regions of a surface. We're going to look and see if there's possible areas with regional issues, and kind of getting over this issue, we can either rename surfaces or delete cells to account for these issues, and then we'll remesh the surface and maybe even run a volume mesh if we want, if we're crazy. So we'll take you through the steps. Here I have the Synvascular interface, and what I'll do is I'll read in a model that I think is a pretty good one, because it's fairly small, so we can do things quickly on it, and then it's got some interesting issues associated with it, but we'll show that. So after we've read in our surface in this Boundaries tab of the PolyData tab, all these operations are associated with PolyData surfaces, so an STL, a VTK, a VTP, surfaces like these that have that are triangulated surfaces. And we will use this filter. It's extract boundaries that extracts the cells that have an angle difference of their normals greater than 50 degrees. So I've just extracted the surfaces, and if you go to the Model tab, you can see the number of surfaces it's extracted. It looks like 4 here, which is right. There should be 4 surfaces here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. However, if we use the P button on the keyboard to select a surface, we notice that the regions we want are not in fact correct. We've got this outflow surface connected with our wall, and it looks like in here there's some weird things going on. So there's some issues here. So actually we can kind of see what happens if we extract the boundaries at a lower angle. We can see now that our outlet's different. We've defined region as being different if the angle between the normals of the cells is 39 degrees. So we've filtered out these regions as being different. However, we've even included even more here in this weird part in the center. So if we continue to go farther down the scale, we'll see that we get more and more cells. I mean, we're defining a region to be less or more different. The angle between the cells is 17 degrees now, so we've got 29 different regions. So you can see it's even picked out some area in here. And then if we set this angle really high, we'll probably only get like 3 or 4 surfaces. 2. We get 2 surfaces. So what we want to do is kind of find the sweet spot. We'll say 40 degrees, where now we've got 6 surfaces, but all of our outlets and inlets have been identified correctly. So what we can do now is name the inlets and outlets. Inlet. Let's call it outlet uno. I'm not running a simulation on this, so I just want to give these names. Outlet dose. It doesn't matter particularly what we name them right now, in my case. And then we'll name this region that is mostly the wall. And so now we've got these 2 regions that are, looks like probably these regions in here that we don't want to give a name to. What we want to do to these is we can go back to the PolyData tab, and there's this add no name faces to wall. So we can go ahead and do this, and this will add these surfaces that still have no name in their name, and it will add them to the region that's named wall. If you haven't named a region named wall, this filter will tell you that you don't have a region named wall, and you'll have to fix that. But we'll do that. And so now if we take a look at that, they're now the same region. So that's one way to deal with the issue if you have these regions that are kind of hard to identify. But then what you can also do is there's also this other filter where you can add just two regions together. Say you want, for example, this wall for some reason to be the same region as your inlet. What you can do is, this is surface 1, it's got this face ID 1 and wall is 4. What we can do is go here and say we want to combine face 4 into face 1. And now what you can see is they're the same region. Now obviously we don't want to do that for multiple reasons. But anyway, just wanted to show that functionality. But what we want to show now is the other way to kind of deal with these issues. So we'll read in this model again, and you have to be able to, you have to have a surface before extracting the boundaries in order to delete the cell. So we'll bring in this fresh STL, no extracted boundaries. And what we can do is, if you click the button C on your keyboard, it selects these cells on your surface. So we will go through and try to select these cells that are giving us some issues in the boundary. Say we don't like this anyway, we want a smooth surface. What we can do is select these cells here. Boom, boom, boom. I'm holding Control C to collect multiple, or to select multiple triangles. I can do C just for one, and that's just going to do one, or I can hit Control C, and that's going to give me multiple triangles. So I want to get these goofy, bad-looking ones out. Because I don't want them. I don't like them. So I'm going to select all these cells, and then once I've done a pretty good job of getting what I think is the bad cells out, I can hit this delete select cells. And as you can see, those are now gone. So now there's one more step in this. When I'm going to save this as something, I'm just going to save it to my desktop as this.vtk. And then go to the Smooth tab, find this, what I've just saved, load it in, and visualize this surface. We've given this surface a hole, and obviously we don't want to try to send this through a mesher with a hole. So we'll use fill holes. And now we can see, boom, that's gone. It's a lot smoother than before. And we can now save this. And we'll save it to the desktop again. And we'll just call it that. Save. Okay, so now we can go back to this the boundaries tab, and we'll delete all actors here and read model, and we'll get this one that we just did. And now this should give us, hopefully, if we do this right, the regions we want. Look at that, 4 regions, the regions we want. And so we'll name these really quick. Inlet wall. I believe this is outlet dose last time, so we'll stay consistent. And outlet uno. And so now we've got a completely named surface, and we can save this. And I'll save it on my desktop again. It's named BTK. And we can do some simple meshing on this. So let's read him in. And let's just try like 2 for now. Yeah, 3. Let's see what that does for us. Let's just do the surface. We can kind of check out the status here. Shouldn't be too long. And only 5,000 triangles on our surface. But as you can see, we did remesh the surface. And looks pretty nice. So we can run a volume mesh on that if we want. Sure, let's do it. Okay, and I usually like to retain my exact surface mesh. I think this looks pretty good. So we'll run our mesh. And once again, this shouldn't take too long. We're just what we did before, just add the generation of a volume after we have our surface. And we're done. Let's see, 40,000 elements. So there you have it. There's kind of preparing a simple mesh, dealing with extracting the boundaries, dealing with some issues if you find them, renaming surfaces and deleting some cells, and then actually remeshing your surface. And then we actually did a volume mesh in this case. So I hope this was informative, and I hope you continue to have a great day. Thanks.